Welcome to the Leaving Eden podcast. Welcome to our interview with Amy Duggar King. You've seen her as crazy cousin Amy on 19 Kids and Counting from TLC, as well as Shiny Happy People on Amazon. She came to our show to talk about her new book, which is called Holy Disruptor, Shattering the Shiny Facade by Getting Louder with the Truth. This book comes out October 14th. When we got on the call with Amy, she told us that she was an open book, and except for that she wouldn't talk about certain details of Josh's scandals and crimes, which are already things that we just don't talk about on our show. She wasn't afraid to get into topics that other people might find uncomfortable and be blunt about her opinions. As a whole, we thought that it was an open and honest and fun conversation. Our full review of the book is going to be out next week. And it'll be available a few days early on our Patreon. So you'll be able to find that at patreon.com/Leaving Eden podcast. So without further ado, we're really excited to share this interview with you. Welcome back to the Leaving Eden podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. It is actually our 250th episode ever. Pretty Yay. Incredible. It's actually not our 250th episode ever. It is episode 250.
It's number 250. Yeah, okay.
Number 250. Today, we are joined to celebrate that, and also she has a new book coming out. You know who she is. Amy Duggar King, the author of Holy Disruptor, Shattering the Shiny Facade by Getting Louder with the Truth. How are you doing? How are you doing today, Amy?
Well, first off, I'm doing really good. Congratulations on 250 episodes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and congratulations on your book release.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
I really enjoyed reading this book, and I'm really happy to have you here to talk about it. Like, we have made jokes on the show before about, like, sometimes when people release a celebrity memoir tell-all, it's more of a tell-nothing. And we were hoping that yours would not be that, and it definitely isn't. You've written a book that has substance, that has stories, that your real personality really shines through, and I'm excited to share it with our listeners.
Well, thank you for reading it. I tell you what, I don't consider myself a celebrity at all. That's weird as can be. Like, I am not a celebrity. That is so weird. But I will tell you that there's no fluff in my book at all. There's like no fluff. It's not just, I'm not a fluffy kind of person like that. So yeah, if I was going to write a book, I knew that it had to be real and just forthcoming of all the things.
Yeah, we tend to be really honest with listeners of like, we think you should buy this. We think this is worth your money. Or not saying that if we don't think it is. And I feel really comfortable telling listeners, don't pirate it. Go buy it for real. This is worth it. I did want to start with like a really quick quote from the book to like break the ice.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite quote from the book. Okay. Amy, take this sinfulness out of my house. I don't want my children to think vegetables can talk.
Yes. That was said to me.
Yeah.
I was just like, no kid.
That was such a great like starter quote. Sum up the.
What do you say? Yeah. There's a lot of that going on.
We've lately started to try to like start our episodes off by doing like an object lesson, kind of like as a joke, just because they were so common. Within, Sadie's upbringing and fundamentalist circles. So now that we have you on here, yes. I would like to know, what was the most ridiculous object lesson that you think that you ever heard in the Duggar compound?
Oh, gosh. How much time do you have?
I don't have a hard out today. I have a softball
as long as you have. We're respecting your time.
At 6. I have family pictures at 6, so we could be here for a while. Okay. I honestly think it was, and I'll just tell you why. Regardless of the Duggar family, but just like in general, Fundy families, they believe genes are the most sinful, like pair. Like it's the worst. It is the worst.
Yeah, we're well aware.
Yep,
Okay,
I grew up skirts only fundamentalist. I'm with you, girl.
Okay, so we're gonna go there, guys. How
Hell
much
yeah.
easier is it if you want to be bad, you want to be whatever, you're tempted, you want to do whatever? How easy is it to pull up a dress or a skirt rather than jeans?
Yep.
I
It
tell you
almost
what,
feels like there's a reason.
exactly. Yeah, it's a very strange to me how they were so against denim jeans, but they could have denim skirts. And it was just like, oh, come on. You're more covered with jeans, I feel like, than with a skirt that can easily ride up. Like, come on.
As someone who has ridden a horse in a denim skirt, I can confirm this.
Yes, there you go.
It was not a great experience.
I tried on one of the denim skirts. I also tried on one of the bathing suits. I didn't put that in the book, or I think I did, and it was like, let's get rid of it. But I jumped in. I don't know what kind of bathing suit you had on growing up, but
yeah,
I was
massive t-shirt and denim culottes was my group.
Okay, so they had
it's like 30 pounds of fabric.
Okay, yeah. They had on jumps. They wore like a scuba gear that was tight, but then there was a skirt over it.
Right, so it's not too tight.
Up to like your neck. And I tried one of these suckers on, you guys, and I jumped into the pool, and I thought almost drowned because the skirt came up over me, and I was like, there's so much fabric going on. Yeah. We get off course, but it's just in general, I think jeans I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I don't see that there's no biblical backing of it at all.
Did they have like a weird like analogy or lesson around jeans? I think what we've heard a lot is like, oh, this like this flower is like your purity. And if you have lustful thoughts, it rips petals off the flower and you'll give that to your, like, did they have weird lessons like that around jeans or anything that you remember?
There were lessons on everything. I think for jeans, it was just that they were manly. They were manly and that you didn't want to come across as a man, or like you were like not, as womanly as you should be, and quiet and meek and mild and all the things. And so like, it was just, this is very manly, and that is the line. There is you can't go near it.
So something that I really want to know is like, so there was that quote. I wrote down a couple other quotes about professional counselors are unsafe and can ruin a person's potential to serve the Lord, so that their relationship with the Lord will never be the same. Batteries being taken out of musical toys, which I grew up with that. I know that one. And I checked in with a couple.
I got for birthday presents to make sure that there was like no music at all in the toys.
Yeah, I grew up with similar stuff around that. I was wondering, like, do you remember the first time you found out about any of those things, or like, what was it like how did you find out about these rules? Did they just not tell you until you crossed the line and then tell you, like, go back on it, or like, what's the deal?
No. So my family had them written out, like on the walls of the home.
Oh boy.
There was all kinds of just like copy paper and like a Sharpie, and was like, and my aunt has like the most perfect handwriting. So it's ridiculous. She really has like the most perfect handwriting, but they were just written on the walls. So stuff
like no music and toys would be written on the walls.
So yeah, no, like it wouldn't say like no music. It would say like, make sure the music you listen to is going to be joyful, and like if God was in the room, he would be happy and pleased with the music style you're listening to. So it never said like no drums, no beat, no da-da-da, but it definitely was like, make it joyful upon the Lord, all the things. There was a lot of Bible verses, a lot of things like that. So yes, there were rules, but they were like sugar-coated.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with how that goes. I'm wondering, did you start noticing those rules at a young age? Like, was there an age where it started to click in, like, oh, wait, maybe this is not normal?
Yeah. I was a little girl. I grew up all around it for like the longest time. And I just knew that like this was my family, and like it was their kind of crazy rules, in my opinion, And so like I just went with it because I was like, I don't know. It's not what I did, but clearly like, I knew that they were there. I tried to respect it as much as I could. It probably was until about I was like 10 or 11 that I started to really be like, what the heck is this? Just, several things.
Yeah, there's like that shift as you gain more awareness, right?
Yeah.
Of like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I think for a while I was just like the cousin and we all played outside and there was no like, I was growing up, sure, but we were still very young, very naive, very innocent. And then I think at a certain time that I was just like, what is happening? Like, I don't know. I don't understand. So yeah.
Yeah. Like, to use a Christianity analogy, there's like a minute when the scales fall from your eyes, right? And you're like, oh, wait, I perceive this as being like just the way my family is. And I'm so interested in your experience because I grew up really deep in fundamentalism, and it's like getting to hear from my cousins that I grew up with. And like now as an adult, I've reconnected.
Did you have a black sheep in your family? Was someone that was like in the family, but like, we love them, but...
Well, it's me now.
Okay, yes. Before that, did you have someone else?
No, it was kind of all of my cousins, because my mom is one of 5 sisters. No cousins on my dad's side. My mom is one of 5 siblings. And my mom was the only one that was in IFB. So it was... our little family against everybody else, all my other cousins. So it was, my experience of like going to church summer camp and laying on the ground at 8 years old and crying and weeping because my Catholic cousins were going to hell. So I had like that very deep in fundamentalism story. And it's really, really fascinating to see it from the outside.
Yeah.
Because for sure. When you're a little kid, anything goes, right? When you're a little kid, it's like, oh yeah, they wear pantaloons, whatever.
Yeah. I was like, whatever, it's fine. Like, climb the tree in your pantaloons. Yeah. I mean, I accepted them and I loved them and I didn't ask questions. And I was just kind of like, that's what they do, but not really what I do. And I was kind of like, kind of kept it that way. And then it wasn't until, Jonathan Taylor Thomas was, super cute. And I was like, oh, he's cute. And I was allowed to have like his posters. And I asked my cousins, like, do you know who JTT is? And they were like, no. And I realized like, oh, okay. Like there's a huge divide here. Like they don't understand anything I'm talking about anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, you were becoming like a normal young person in the world who's got posters on their walls and listens to music and goes to concerts.
Yes, yeah, and the mall and hanging out with my friends and pool parties and like just normal life. And they weren't allowed to be a part of any of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely know the feeling from the other side.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, this episode of Leaving Eden is brought to you by CBDX. And if you've been tossing and turning at night, this is for you. A lot of us hit a point where sleep just changes. It's harder to fall asleep. We wake up in the night and we start the day already tired. And it's not just in your head. Sleep struggles are common, especially when stress and long days pile up. And that's why so many people are discovering the power of cannabinoids. Yes, cannabinoids can be fun, but the benefits go way beyond recreation. People are using them to manage stress, ease discomfort, support mood, and finally get real rest. And here's the thing. A lot of people used to turn to a glass of wine or a nightcap to wind down, but more and more are choosing a healthier, natural alternative, one that actually supports better sleep instead of disrupting it. That's where CBDX's lights out, sugar-free THC and CBN sleep gummies come in. CBDX's gummies are made for restorative sleep, not partying. Each blends an indica-based THC for relaxation, CBN for sleep quality, plus glycine, chamomile, L-theanine, and just 1 milligram of melatonin. CBDX gummies are naturally sweetened with monk fruit. No chemicals, no weird aftertaste. You take one, drift off gently, stay asleep, and wake up clear-headed. No hangover, no grogginess. And CBDX isn't just about sleep. They've got THC sativa blends for creativity, hybrids for balance, and indicas for deep relaxation. And premium non-THC gummies with cannabinoids like CBG, CBD, CBC, and CBN, each with unique wellness benefits. So if you're ready to feel better every day, visit cbdx.com and use the promo code EDEN for 20% off your first order. CBDX, plant-powered wellness you can trust. Go to cbdx.com, Use the promo code Eden for 20% off your first order. Get the sleep you deserve. So, Amy, we're actually very glad to have you here. Every week, one of the things that we've been doing on our show lately is that we've been having like a poll of our listeners. We ask them certain questions. In anticipation of your guest appearance on this show, one of the things that we asked our listeners, we were genuinely curious about this because a lot of times our poll questions end up being like, what do you think about this? Or like, do you consider yourself part of this community or not? We asked our listeners whether they consider themselves part of the Fundy Snark community, community which, from chapter 14 of your book, which is called Famey.
Which has a community which has always been super nice to you.
Yes. They deeply love and adore you.
I thought they hated me.
But we're being a little bit we're being a little sarcastic because they're so mean sometimes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, good. Okay. I was going to say no. It's not good.
But like, so we asked our listeners whether they consider themselves part of the Fundy Snark community. And actually, it's interesting. We got back the results of, and it's 47% yes, 53% no.
Okay.
So quite a decent level of snarker presence on this podcast episode audience.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself really a part of this community, but I
and I would say I absolutely
from time to time.
Yeah. And I would say I absolutely am an OG snarker, but I try to be an ethical snarker. You know, I don't want to say anything about anybody on the internet that I would be sad if their kids read it.
Yeah.
Because I definitely I'm super interested in talking more about parenting in this episode because our kids are about a year and a half apart. Because mine is 4.5.
Okay.
And I wouldn't want to say anything on the internet about anybody who that would upset their kid if their kid read it, because 12-year-olds go on the internet and read things.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
And it's assuming good intent and that kind of stuff, but I will make fun of Jill Rodriguez's eyebrows or something like that.
You can make fun of mine. I have to color mine in and you can't even hardly see them. They're so light. I don't know. They're just so light. Make fun of them all you want. I have read a little bit of Reddit. I try to stay off of Reddit 100%. I know
go on my subreddit.
I know there's Duggar snarkers. I know people will look at this book and be like, there's no way in hell this is true. Like, I already know that. I am fully aware of the hate out there. But I do feel since all the scandals have come out and I have been more proactive in talking about it and standing up for like child advocacy and like just being real with people, I feel like more people are like, okay, I actually trust what she has to say. And so I feel like there has been a shift. They also saw me like, I'm 20. I'm like a little bubbly Bobby thing, on TV. Yes. And I'm like, I'm going to go ride on a camel or whatever. And people are
they
like,
called you Crazy Amy for years and years and years.
Yeah, Crazy Cousin Amy. And I already had like this like weird thing going on where I was like rebellious and like young and like, but like not bad, like not a bad girl, but like I was.
You are just living in the real world. Yeah.
Like
normal, 100% normal. But compared to like the rest of my family, I was like a shark out of water and a walking sin all the time. Yeah. I felt really like, ooh,
I loved in this book, like in your book, and we're not going to try to spoil it too much because we do want people to go buy it. But I felt like I got to know your real personality in the book. After I read it, it wasn't like, oh, I know her personally, we're best friends, and I know everything about her life. But it did feel like I had sat down with you for an hour and had coffee. It's like, oh, okay, I've encountered this person's personality.
Yeah, I love that, Sadie. Thank you so much. That's the one thing in my book I really wanted to show was like, hey, I have direction. I'm not this girl with like no moral compass and just like Miley Cyrus, like, hey, like nothing like that. And so thank you. That means
you very much came off as a real person. And I think we all know like some people in Snark community will find some quote from the book that they decide upsets them, and they will get all grumpy about it and make it stink. It happens to us too, as content creators within the space. It happens to us a lot.
Stop. I was literally looking at your Instagram before we got on here, and I was like, oh, they have fun in life. Like they don't hold back, you know?
Yeah, but getting to read the book, we definitely wanted to address like your relationship with snarkers and your relationship with that nickname and how that feels now and how you've worked through it. Because I think the book is going to bring a lot of reasonable people to a pretty good consensus on you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Can I give you, I think there's two things going on here vis-a-vis the snarkers.
Okay.
Can I give you my impression?
Please.
So my first impression is, I think there's two main things really.
Okay.
One of those is that they say, you know, it's the famey thing. It's that they say that you're like a clout chaser or whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, knowing what we know about how Jim Bob operates business things, I mean, you did work for him for free for many years. And so if you want to get paid on the back end, by putting a book out, you know,
it's your life, it's your story, it's your right.
Yeah. You know, yeah, it is my story. My hopes is not like for any like that. It's more just to help people, like really like connect the dots a lot. I mean, I was on the show and then all of a sudden the show was going great. Everything was wonderful. There was all kinds of scandals. And next thing you know, the show's off the air and there's no answers for anybody. And so they don't know any of the backstory.
Yeah, and you've been put in this position where like people are curious about your life.
Oh, no worries. The second thing that I thought that I was looking and I'm just like, why do people have this opinion about Amy? The one that I saw more in the past couple years was that I think a lot of people were not happy with the fact that you celebrated Roe v. Wade being overturned on social media. I mean, I understand, you know, we're not going to agree on an issue like abortion. And I think probably it's like 35% of the country is more in line with you. But I think that people being upset seeing somebody celebrating that is much more valid than, oh, she's just like clout chasing.
No, I mean, we don't have to have political, you know, like we don't have to just align on everything. Okay. And we could go there if you want to, but for me, I think that listen, not every person that has abortion is right. And not every abortion is wrong. Right. I mean, I really don't agree with that. I'm not like, ooh, but the ones that like party like crazy and then oops, they have a baby and oops, I'm going to get rid of it. No, in my world, in my mind, in my life, I consider that wrong. I think
that's totally fair. My opinion would be that almost never happens. And like, I think that you can see.
Sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You're fine.
I worked with teenagers who were ordered to live in this home. And I worked there for over a year and I had to quit only because I got pregnant. And it was unhealthy and like very like not a good place for me to be because they would have beat me up. Because that's how mean and angry these young girls were. Like 12, I had 11-year-old, 12s, 13 and 14-year-olds. And because of that, many of them had abortions. And it wasn't from, you know, sexual assault. It wasn't from anything like that. It was like, oops, I just party a lot. And so for me, I was just like, man, like, where do you stand? You know, because regardless, it's still a baby. It's still a living. I would
absolutely. I'd be really happy if you listened to our episode on abortion because I don't think you'd find that we disagree that much. I think that's unethical. Like even from my position, not believing that a fetus that young is a human person, it's still unethical because it's an unnecessary surgery on the mother. That's not good for young bodies to go through getting pregnant and then having a surgery. It's not ethical that way either. My position is like that fetus is not yet a person, and that's a disagreement. But I also still would say that's not ethical. That's not ideal. That's not good for humanity as a whole, right? Like the human experience of that young person going through that isn't good.
Right.
So, and I lean more towards, well, the way that we stop that is really good sex ed. The way we stop that is available contraception. The way that we stop that is educating people on healthy relationships and not having kids that young doing activities that lead to pregnancy as much as possible. So I think I appreciate you being willing to talk about it because I think there's so much middle ground.
There is a lot of middle ground. There's not just black and white. There's a lot of gray areas that I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where the pendulum swings, and I don't know, all the right answers. I didn't say I was perfect, and I think I say that in my book. I don't pretend I'm perfect. I'm not a perfect person, and because my family kind of portrayed that perfectionism, in my opinion. I feel like that target is on me, that she must feel the same way. And she's got to have the right answer. Blah, blah. I don't, I'll be honest. I don't, I'm still learning a whole lot about all of it. So I understand if there's pushback on that, and that's fine.
Yeah. I think it's really hard. Something that honestly, really girl to girl, I struggle on social media when I say something that feels like it's a hard stance. I feel like I have to explain every nuance of it. And in your case, you'd be saying, well, I'm against abortion. I don't think that Roe v. Wade is the correct law for our land, but I support sex ed and I support contraception and I support people not being pregnant when they don't want to be. And I support medical procedures that are necessary, which sounds like, I'm not meaning to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like that's where you're coming from.
Yeah, no, it definitely,
no matter what you say, you're never going to get all the exceptions right.
You're never going to do it. And here's the thing I've learned also from girl to girl Instagram, I've learned that sometimes you want to say something, it'll come across so wrong. And then you're like, and then someone takes it and runs with it. And that's how it all gets started, really, in a lot of ways. Like I said, I've got a lot to learn about all kinds of things. And so if people, are going to push to one side and be like, oh, she's for this, so I don't like her and hate on me, listen, I honestly feel like I'm in good company and I'm okay to be hated on. I don't need that validation from anyone anymore.
And I think there's a lot of where I try to draw the line in my personal life. It's not this person doesn't agree with me, so I don't want to talk to them.
Right.
I have no interest in sitting and interviewing with a Christian person who would say something horrible like, I don't care if 10-year-olds get pregnant, they always need to have the baby every time, and that's their sin nature. Or I don't have any interest in sitting and having a conversation with somebody who believes that. Mm-hmm. But I also don't get the perception that that's who you are. Somebody who disagrees with me and disagrees with a lot of compassion and is really willing to show up for the conversation, I'll sit and have a conversation with that person any day.
Yeah, no, I think there can be mutual respect and we can coexist, it's,
and the line is
cutthroat.
Right. There is a line, and that line is are you actively hurting people right now?
Right.
Are you personally actively perpetrating harm on people right now? Or do I just not like or agree with some words that you said? Because words can hurt, right? Words can
like a knife. Yeah. Yeah. As you read in the book, words cut you down. They can destroy you.
I was called the heck out.
Listen.
You said you can't hug a knife, and I was called the heck out. I might get a tattoo of that. I don't know.
Oh, I'm not even kidding.
That one was I was convicted on that one.
Girl, you should have just wait if you hear the audiobook. That I was one of the most hardest moments was talking about all that. One of the hardest moments.
I imagine. Yeah. And okay, so that's another perspective that I really got on you from reading your book, because I think people can be so focused on the snarker aspect or on the you leaning a little bit more towards conservative than most snarkers do. People can feel like that's your whole life or that's your whole identity. The way that you're portrayed online can be that's your whole identity.
I don't even know how really I'm portrayed online. I don't look at it. I don't
good for you.
You what?
I said good for you.
Oh yeah, no, I like really don't. Like I haven't looked at Reddit in years. I have no idea what is said or any other chat forums. I have no clue.
Yeah. I think
That's
people
probably a healthy decision.
people will portray that like you want to be a little bit of a political influencer or like the snarker thing is your whole life. And that's why I really love the book.
No, Amy does not want to talk about politics on social media.
People
That's
really,
No.
thing that I've learned by following her on social media.
Not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. I want us to coexist. I want us to love each other. I believe the love is the answer. My political views are completely my own, and I am not trying to be a political influencer. No way. That go hide me under a rock, please. That is my own personal hell. Okay, give me any kind of podcast about politics, and I'm running for the hills. It's not me. Not me.
Yeah.
No.
I think that's why I liked reading your book, because it showed that there are your book shows a much more complete person than the way that you were portrayed on reality TV. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, yeah.
How did that?
Yeah. Well, reality TV is not real, clearly.
Yeah.
And so...
Are there any reality shows that you like that you're like, this is my... having been on it?
I'm trying to think of like any of them. No, not really.
Not a Housewives fan?
I've never watched one episode. Never. Okay. I don't know anything about Housewives. I'm not a Kardashian thing. I got my own beliefs on that. I watch Love is Blind.
Great show.
I do like Love is Blind.
I feel like the connections on there are more real than some, because they have to like have personalities before they like actually see the person. I think that's great. Bachelor. Okay, listen, my downfall is Bachelor. I did watch it. Now I do think it's going downhill. I do believe, like, I don't know where they're coming back from the new Bachelorette. I don't know where they're going to come from there. Like, I don't know where they're going. I don't know the next.
It's nice to hear somebody who's not the biggest fan of their choice for a new Bachelorette. I watched Gabby and Rachel was the last season I watched. And I love both of them so much.
Yes. Yeah. I just think they kind of like got off course and they don't know where they're going either. And everyone's just in a chat, like in a meeting room being like, what are we going to do? Who's pretty? Who's single? Like what is happening? Yeah. But yeah, I don't watch like a ton of like trash TV. I've tried to get into like Love Island and it's not for me. It is not for me. Oh my gosh. I can totally tell how like the producers like talk to each other or talk to each, cast member, and then they like start drama. I can't. I just can't.
Right. So you've been on reality TV. You know that there's a producer in the background saying, hey, you should go you're feeling this way about it. Go talk to that person about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, there wasn't a script. There was not a script. And I will honestly tell you, the TLC network was wonderful. They really were great. But yeah, of course it's a TV show. They have to have some kind of dialogue and, someone talking to each other. And so, yeah, they would kind of create these scenes. And then whatever happens obviously was filmed and all that, but that was unscripted. But yeah. It was,
you see it when you watch other shows.
Yeah. And I also like noticed like, oh, okay, the camera's over there in that closet, it's like the boom. Like I can pick it all out. Yeah.
That's really fun.
Yes. Yeah. So it's definitely something that I'm just like, I've been like, honestly been there, done that. Not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. And I would, that's just a season of life that, man, that's long gone now.
Yeah. Yeah. I was wanting to ask you, so speaking of things that are long gone, like you talk a lot in the book about being a cycle breaker, and that's something I absolutely respect. Like I let you know earlier, I'm raising a 4.5-year-old. I really loved a lot of the things that you said about parenting. There was one in particular that hit me pretty hard about kids deserving apologies. And I thought that paragraph was really beautiful. I wanted to ask, like, where did you go to learn about parenting? Like when you got to this point in your life and you're like, oh, I'm going to parent my kid really differently from what I experienced and really, really differently from what my cousins experienced. Mm-hmm. Where did you go for that information, or like how did you start learning?
So I honestly didn't like educate myself because I don't feel like everybody has the answers. I feel like we're all just kind of winging it and kind of doing our own thing. But I will tell you, I started writing down the things that I hated, the things that put trauma in me, the things I didn't like growing up. And I just like literally I made a list and I was just like, here, what do I want to do differently? Like, what can I do? If I was yelled at all the time and I felt so like just out of control in my heart. I was jittery. I was confused. I wasn't getting answers. It was all the things, and I wasn't allowed to ask questions, all the things. What are some things, my husband and I both sat down and we were like, what do we want to change about our childhood? And that's really what we did, is we had a list. And one of the things was like, I don't want to yell. Like, I don't want to just get his attention by snapping and yelling at him, because that doesn't work. It doesn't work. And he was like, well, I want him to ask questions. And I was like, I love that. And it was just things that we just discussed about the things that we didn't, what we wanted to change. That's really what it was. I didn't read a book. I didn't go on a website. I didn't open up the Bible. I literally was just like, okay, here's the things that I don't want to happen. And we just decided that's what we were going to do.
Yeah. I actually did something really similar. Like, my path's been a little bit different, but I did sit down and make a list of stuff that I felt like my parents were really good at and stuff that I felt like was lacking or that I would want to do differently.
Yeah. Yes. And, okay. So I have to ask you really quick. I'm not trying to interview you.
No,
but
go.
What are some things that like you've changed in your parenting?
So, things that I've changed in my parenting?
Mm-hmm. Like from your childhood, from now you're a mom.
Yeah, I was raised with physical discipline, and I've chosen not to do that to my kid. I just think that scientifically it's proven that it doesn't help or work.
I think it makes the child even more angry.
Yeah, when a kid does wrong and you hit them.
A child, no. And also I think
brain science tells us it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I agree. Oh, no, I agree. I totally agree with you.
So I've steered away from that. And I have been blessed with a really strong-willed child. I have been given the wonderful gift
lucky girl.
of a wild kid. Her name is Charlotte. I have a little girl. Her name is Charlotte. She's just 4.5 now. As an example, last night I was getting ready for her bath, and I called down the stairs to ask her to come upstairs to get ready for bath time. And I said, "Hey, darling, come upstairs. It's bath time." And she walked up the stairs and she looked at me and she said, "My name am not Darlin. I am the queen. Be gone."
Oh, wow. Girl, I'm going to be praying for you.
Oh, it's so wonderful. And she is like such a wild child at this age. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah,
but
my spy, he's feral. I swear. He's like feral. It's like a feral raccoon. I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yeah, it is really wild. Like, honestly, raising kids without hitting them is kind of a crazy experience when you've never done it before. And when that wasn't how you were raised, raising kids without yelling when you were yelled at is just a head trip of an experience. It's like, nothing works out the way that. Oh, hi, kitty.
This is my Winston.
Nice cat.
He is a main character in this house. So he definitely was like, "What are you talking about?" And I had to come say hi.
Oh,
sorry.
I've got two orange boys, so they're.
You what?
I've got 2 orange boys. They're not in this room right now, but they sometimes hang out with me.
They do podcasts sometimes.
Well, he might really. I might just hold him for a minute because he will not stop. I will guarantee he'll jump up and over and he'll knock over things and
That's totally valid.
He's a Velcro cat. He likes being held, it looks like. So.
Oh, he's a baby. He's a baby. Yeah, he is. People are like, why don't you have a second child? And I'm like, I do. This is Winston.
You didn't give him a D name. All your kids are going to have D names.
I should. I know. He's the sweetest thing in the world, though. He's a rescue. But yeah, he's He's handsome and sweet boy.
So
we love him.
You want to make sure that we know that you're not a celebrity, but is your cat a celebrity?
My cat is famous in this house, but I think people know I have a Winston. I've made it known. So maybe people know about him, but yeah, I
think our listeners are pretty like cat people. So we have a little Discord server for the podcast, and we have a whole section for pets.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, this is Winston and little rescue. He was found inside a semi truck tire. And Dylan got him for me for our first Christmas together. And he's just the sweetest little thing. I love him so much. So I'm a huge cat person. Daxton is allergic to dogs, bad. Like he blows up like a puffer fish when he's around any kind of dog. So we can't have one. And so he's a cat person as well. And he loves his Winston.
I thought allergies were made up by the devil.
I heard that. I remember hearing that.
Oh my
gosh, no. Oh my word. The things it's really sad how many people believe man made up rules and things just whatever they want to say. I can't stand it. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to control, and it goes back to something I talk about on the show a lot is self-brainwashing, because when the brainwashing comes from the outside for a little bit, right? Don't wear pants, and allergies are made up by the devil, and don't go to movies. But eventually a person internalizes that. Yeah. And it's their own self-talk that's telling them.
It's literally talking, you hear yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it turns into this really toxic cycle where people are experiencing that kind of brainwashing and that kind of control from inside their own mind. And that's what makes them pliable and vulnerable to real cult leaders. Because a actual cult leader or an actual coercive control leader doesn't have the time to control all of their people. Just like your aunt and uncle, they don't have time to parent 19 kids. Nobody has time to parent 19 kids. You got to create the rhythms in their head that keep them under control.
Listen, I can't speak for anyone else, but I will tell you that I am not made to parent 19 kids.
I don't think anybody is.
Not my thing. I did not believe. So when I was like 16, I would get Bill Gothard principal books, like big, thick books. And
we're familiar.
Okay, yeah. So I received these at 16 all the way up till I was like 19 or something. And they would always write, I say they because you know who they are. They would always write, "Be fruitful and multiply," in my books. And I'm like, no. I don't think so.
16. That's kind of young
gross. To be. And of course, your uncle did try to. You let us know in the book your uncle did try to set you up with somebody or matchmake at one point.
There was always something like that going down where my uncle was like, "Let me help you find somebody." And literally in my book, and in my opinion, to tame me down. Like those things were not.
I would just like to say to your face,
cupcake. I'm good.
What kind of man do you think he would have found you?
I mean, a carbon copy of himself or of one of my cousins. Yeah. I mean, just a complete vanilla cupcake who's never lived life, who never has questioned anything, and who believes blindly. Who follows blindly. Let's just say that. That's not the man I want. I do not want a political influencer or someone who tries to silence me. Please.
I feel like, one thing that I do a lot is I like to tell people my real opinion of them to their face. And I swear this is a compliment. And this is also my very real opinion of you. You would have made a terrible fundamentalist wife. You would have been awful at it.
I really would have been. I would have been a bull in a china cabinet. I would have been like, oh, hell no. Tell me I can't. Oh, gosh. I would have been so bad. I really would have been.
I went to one of those fundamentalist colleges where they train you how to be a fundamentalist wife, and you have to take college classes on crock pot cooking and stuff.
Oh, my gosh. I want to give you a hug right now.
I will give you a rain check for that hug. When we meet one day, we'll hug it out. I'll buy you a little shot of whiskey if you like.
I'll buy you something. Yeah, I'll buy you that.
We're on. Yeah. We're on. This is a date for a future time. We're going to do this. But
we're doing it.
I know I couldn't hack being a fundy wife, and my spicy side did not come out well into me being an adult. Like when I always felt like my personality was like when I watched 19 Kids and Counting, when I was a teenager, I think I'm right between, I think I'm just a little bit older than Ginger. I'm within like a couple months of her age. And Ginger is the personality I always thought that I was most similar to. I was really toned down. I was ready to be the fundamentalist wife. I was ready to do all that stuff. And the spicy side didn't come out until much later. And yeah, if I couldn't be a fundy wife, there's no way you could do it. I'm really glad you did not go that direction in life.
There's no way I was going to be programmed or not think
the world
for
is better off with you being yourself.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it just wasn't in the cards. Let me tell you, I couldn't have done it. There's no way. And I'm glad that you got out of it too.
Yeah.
We actually asked our listeners if they had any questions that they wanted us to ask you. And there's one that we got from our listener, Zoe, that I wanted to ask because it's kind of related to this.
Okay.
But Zoe asks that, so there was an episode of 19 Kids and Counting where Jim Bob baptizes you.
I remember watching this on TV. Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird because like you've never like not been a Christian, but it seemed like they kept trying to push like a Amy's redemption narrative on the show, which kind of weird to me because once again, never not been a Christian.
Right. Right.
But Zoe is asking, where were you in your faith and life journey at that time? And how have you changed since then? And do you wish that Jim Bob hadn't been the one to do it, or had never had that done at all? Or was that just something the producers were just like, hey, we think you should get baptized on air? Like, what was the deal with that?
Okay. Yeah. No, great question, Zoe. Wow. You went there. Thank you for going there. Yeah. Okay. You have to understand that when I went to Israel and with my family and I was on the show, I literally held my family on a pedestal. Okay. So I thought my uncle was like the epitome of a man. Okay. Of like a godly man. He was also like a very supportive dad role model in my life in a weird way. Not in like a weird, like, you know what I mean? Right. Like not,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
You didn't have that. You didn't have that positive male influence in your life. And when you don't have it, you can latch on to somebody who like has his own faults and has his own issues, but you're getting that support that everybody needs, that positive role model in their life.
Thank you, Sadie. Exactly. Yes.
Girl, I've been there.
Yeah. He didn't yell. It was a lot. Oh, hold on. You're fine. You're fine. You're okay. Oh. He's spicy too. Have I told you that? When he wants down, he wants down. And he slaps my face before. He'll slap my face. And I'm like, cat? Winsy? Okay, I'm so sorry. Anyways, back to this. Okay, yeah, so you have to understand, I really respected him at one point, very much so. Yeah. He didn't yell. He provided. There was a lot of good things about him. And at that time, I really wanted to look at the good and not the bad, okay? I made a deal with my mom and dad. My mom and dad dated for 22 years, and they got married on my senior year of high school. And I told myself, I don't know why I said this when I was a little girl, but I was like, I'll get baptized when they get married. That was my thing. And so I waited very long time to like be baptized. So when someone found out that I've never been baptized, they thought that would have been it's the best moment to be baptized in the Jordan River. And honestly, it was really cool at the time. Here's someone I loved and adored and respected and whatever. And yeah, but they were always trying to save my soul. You are right. You were right. They were always trying to save my soul. And I tried to kept telling them, like, I know Jesus. I love Jesus. I go to church. I'm Christian. And they're just like, yeah, no, there's levels. There's levels.
Yeah, but you're still wearing pants. And if you had the desire in your heart to wear pants, then can you really be saved?
Exactly. Well, that, and also like very much so. There was levels.
Like one of the stories. Sorry, I'm sorry. We're apparently besties now.
I love it.
One of the stories that really broke me up in your book was a little cousin, like a kid, saying maybe if you worshipped God correctly, then you'd make better life choices. And that, like,
a kid saying that to you—that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And like the way you didn't name it.
What do you say with a little kid like that coming up to you, knowing they're programmed, knowing that they're not going to listen to anything? And like, I'm the closest thing to like a non-Christian in their life and that is allowed in their home. And that like, they're trying to do everything they can to save me. And it's programmed in them and groomed, honestly, to believe that way. Like,
Right. And like as an adult with boundaries now, if I was talking to somebody whose kids were still in fundamentalism, I think I'd have the wherewithal to say something about I'm happy with my life choices and I feel okay about the choices I'm making.
Right.
Or sometimes I make mistakes and I'm okay with making mistakes. And I've learned to forgive myself when I make mistakes and do my best to fix them, But as I sure wouldn't have, I don't know, you were like early 20s, mid 20s.
I was like early 20s and I was just like, like, what do you say?
I wouldn't have had the ability to respond to that in my early 20s either.
At that point, I just like shut everything down. I kind of just emotionally shut down when I was over there and just let them talk and let them preach and let them try to guide me. And I just
That's the programming.
went along with it. I just went along with it because I was just like, I'm exhausted. Like I've told y'all over and over how much like I believe. And it honestly, in my opinion, it didn't matter.
Well, it feels like it just feels like a constant pattern of rejection. And this is one of the things that I knew that we would just get in conversation, but this is one of the specifics I wrote down to ask you. You are so clear in the book about how it felt like you were just never quite enough. And there would be this pattern of pulling you close and then rejection and pulling you close and then rejection. I was definitely wanting to hear, how has it been healing from that as an adult? How has it been like now, like as a 30-something reading your book that you've written now as a 30-something and looking back at stuff that I saw on TV when I was 14 and you were on TV. I see the manipulation now. And I see the rejection and the carrot on a stick love and all of that kind of thing. And I think this part of the story that I would love to hear as somebody who has parasocially known you for half my life, how have you healed from that? Can you talk about some of your healing from that rejection and what that's been like?
Yeah, I can tell you it's liberating. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like I have to like measure up to anyone anymore. And like, I am not striving for like perfection because it doesn't exist. Perfection does not exist. And it's like just a new like turning point in my life where I'm just like, I'm not trying to like gain someone's validation anymore. That when earlier we were talking about fundies and snarkers and all the things, I was like, I don't need that validation anymore. Like I don't. If someone's going to try to pray for my soul and tell me I'm not a Christian and tell me I don't believe and tell me my faith is wrong and all the things, I don't need that validation anymore. I'm not trying to like make someone else happy. And I really live at peace. I'm literally like, I live the most peaceful life now. And it's not bitterness. I don't like hate somebody. If I saw them today, I would say, hi, it's so nice to see you again. I hope you're doing well. Even though they're a part of my family tree, I would seriously just be like, I hope you're doing well. And I'm glad you're I'm glad you're happy. I'm glad you're, doing great. And I'd walk on and I wouldn't feel this like, this like tug to get there, like, just their validation, just knowing that like I don't have to have that in order to like move on in my life has been eye-opening and, like I said, liberating.
It's got to be tough for, being part of this crazy reality TV thing with your family, and then getting a NDA at the end where they're like, here's $30,000, never publicly associate with us.
Yeah.
That's got to feel like the ultimate rejection.
That was a really big rejecting moment for sure. I just was like, I did not know. Well, let me just say this. I've already said it in the book. I felt like it was shut up money. I felt like there was more to the story, and there was. Go figure. But yeah, just to know that like they did not want me to publicly even mention the fact that I was a part of the family was so hurtful.
That's your identity. Like what do you have that is your identity if it's not your DNA and your family history?
Well, what I've learned is that family can be chosen, and I really have this big support team around me now, and my circle is small, and I keep it that way for a reason. But yeah, that was a very deep rejection.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that you've come to peace with it, because I think the threat of rejection and the fear of rejection is one thing that is designed to keep people within fundamentalism. And I know that you have seen this with your cousins. Like, I know that you've seen this. Like, on a sidebar, I wanted to say that I really appreciate you sharing the intimacy of your family story as it affected you with us in your book. I also really see that you were intentional about how you talked about your cousins, that you told the parts of the story that belonged to you, and you steered away from the parts of the story that did not affect you and were not your story to tell.
Right.
And I respect your intentionality a lot in how you told that.
Thank you so much. I'm not going to ride the coattails of like, I was a part of an IBLP too. Watch me. Oh, I've got trauma. No, I don't have trauma, but I do have rejection. I do have people trying to just like change who I was, and that I wasn't enough, and that I just felt like I was always drowning. I was always in quicksand, and I could never like find a foundation ever.
Right.
That's how it felt.
And like, from having been more inside like religious groups that are similar, it was not IBLP, but it was IFB, which is really, really, really close.
It's very similar.
That like addiction to validation, or that like always needing validation, is a tactic that these groups use to pull people in deeper. They making you feel like you need it. This is also really common in like coercive or abusive relationships, which you talk about some in your book. Like, you feel like you have to get this person's validation, and that if you're always running a little bit behind, and if you could just do a little bit more or be a little bit better, then you would earn this validation, you would get to this thing. And that's a tool that they use. I'm glad to hear that you found peace with it. I think a lot of people work really hard to get to that peace. And I
had to work really hard. There was a time where I would not wear makeup and try to like blend in as much as I could. I mean, as much as I could. You can go back in the shows and you're like, oh, that's the day that she was trying to blend in, and it's like, I just didn't. And now I realize, honestly, in my opinion, that's God-given. I really believe that there's a reason why I was not a target for the abuse that was taking place, and it's because like I was different, and I would have, seen things, and I would have picked up on things, and they knew that. They knew I was receptive.
Right.
I mean, Josh kind of confirmed that. You speak about that at one point in your book. Yeah. Which was kind of I don't know if we want to talk about that now, or if we want to wait till later to get into that. But
I think we can.
We can talk about it.
We can flow. Everything feels like we're doing a flow. Yeah, it's a Jeremy Bear me if you've seen The Good Place.
I love it. Yes, I have seen it. Yes,
I love that show. I love that show. I feel like it's so descriptive of things that all like goodness in the world. It really is.
I believe there is that.
All right, go ahead, Gabi.
in this book, you talk about your family history and how, you know, your grandfather was abusive and how your uncle Jim Bob was he kind of served as a role of like a protector to your mother in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see with Josh where there's a situation where he legitimately says, I have a problem, I need help. And it's just like, I see nothing, I hear nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of the things, like what I said, like, where do you go from there? You know,
Yeah.
I truly believe, and I'll honestly say this for legal reasons. I'm putting in my opinion because I don't know what this book is going to do, but I just want to speak truth out there. So literally, in my opinion, I do believe that the show was going really great. And it was very popular. Well, actually, I should say that when he was younger, I do believe that, cause it was like, what, 14. In my opinion, I do believe that, like, yes, Josh went and tried to get help, but he couldn't get help outside of the IBLP pool, right? It had to be a member that, like, was going to help him or whatever. But I think that, how do you get help from someone who is committing crimes or, doesn't look at abuse for what it is?
Because the IBLP they don't believe that there's any treatment for anything that can come from outside of their circle, outside of their approved sources of treatment for anything.
Correct.
Right. And psychology is a sin.
Correct. Thinking for yourself is a sin.
And, you write in your book that, before all of this, you and Josh had a good relationship, that, that he was funny, that you liked hanging out with him.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's got to be very difficult.
Yeah. To know that there was so much going on that I wasn't familiar with. I had no idea about. I was completely blindsided. I found out, like the rest of the world, on national television. Was mind-blowing and heartbreaking.
That's like a real grief. And I think, I don't know. I think it's totally worth it to condemn him and his behavior, and what he did was awful, and all of that is terrible, terrible. But that just because he did something terrible doesn't mean that your grief isn't real. You lost somebody who was a family member to you. And that's not
for sure. I've lost a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've lost a lot of people. It's one of those things that I just had to come to realization that it wasn't healthy. It wasn't a healthy environment, in my opinion. And so I'm going to do everything in my power to keep my mind good and healthy. And my son, I watch him closely and just make sure that he is surrounded by good and healthy people, and there's boundaries there. And I lost a lot of people that I cared about. And I do still care for the cousins. They have no idea the truth of why I left, and they don't know the things that's gone on. And so I hope they do pick up this book. I hope they do get a chance to read it somewhere. Go to Best Buy or go to Walmart and see it there and pick it up and just read some pages.
Do you think they will or they won't? Because, I mean, will we just get a text message from Jim Bob saying, don't read this book, it's bad, and then they're going to say, okay.
Yeah, so honestly, I don't know. I mean, clearly a lot of them have cars, they can go wherever, and they're married now, and I do wish them, all the best. Like I said, this book is not coming out of a place of bitterness. I was actually
No, and I didn't get that impression from reading it.
Yeah. I was actually asked to write a book right after the Josh scandal, like literally right after. And I turned it down. Yeah. It was a big offer, and I turned it down and was like, heck no, I can't do this. Like, I am in no place, like, physically, mentally, to like process, or spiritually to really process all of this. I'm going to need some time. And I did. I took years to really dive in and do the work and educate myself and get to where I'm at now.
I think with so many of the cousins in the family, they're all growing at their own rate.
Right.
And you're growing at your own rate. And I see in your book how many things you have done really deep level work on, like the cycle breaking and like parenting and seeing yourself as a person with worth and value and dignity. Like, you have done so much, and I believe that you're going to continue to grow as a person. And your cousins all have that same opportunity.
They do.
Yeah, I talk about my dad a lot on the show. My dad was a preacher within the Baptist church, and for 30 years. And in the last 10 years of his life, he worked a lot and grew a lot. And he didn't become some, radical leftist, progressive, whatever. And he didn't have to. He grew in compassion. He grew in love. He opened his mind to the world in new ways. He was a really wonderful and loving person. And something I say a lot is that there doesn't have to be a destination to growth, because your cousins could, some of them who are still very much IBLP, growth for them could be a change of heart, and they still only wear skirts. It could be a change of heart, and they still only listen to classical music. Growth means a lot of things, and I like this story of what happened with my dad and my relationship to my dad makes me carry a lot of hope for people. And they all, it's two-handed, like hope and responsibility, right? All of your cousins, we're getting close to all of them being adults, which is crazy when you saw the last like 3 or 4 of them born on TV. But
yeah, that is wild.
But we're getting really close. Like, I remember the ones that were babies when I was a teenager watching the show are now adults, which is freaky.
Yes.
And it's hope and responsibility, right? All of them have the opportunity to change and grow like you have. And the responsibility is eventually personal responsibility. Like, you had to take responsibility for growing from the toxic patterns that were present in your family culture. You had to take, and I really respect seeing in your book the story of how you take responsibility. This thing happened to my great-grandmother, and then it happened to my grandmother, and then it happened to my mother. And here is how I'm taking responsibility for not letting it happen to me. It's not victim blaming. It's not shaming people who had bad things happen to them, but it is taking the reins, taking control, and saying, this is not going to be me. This is not going to be in my generation. Your cousins have that same opportunity. Yeah, and they all have the agency and the opportunity to do that same thing that you have. And they're all so young, and I don't know. I'm a little bit of a little orphan Annie person. But I tend to think, okay, there's like 19 of them. Some of them are really going to grow and surprise us and turn into really awesome people.
I hope so. And I'm not saying that they aren't right now, but I do believe that there's always room for more growth in all of us. And so...
And some people are going to take on that responsibility, right? Some people are going to have that drive to take responsibility for their life and grow. And there's always hope for... It's like we were talking about earlier with having political differences with somebody. I'm not interested in having a conversation with someone who's actively causing harm or trying to hurt other people. But outside of that, there's a lot of room for conversation. And I think with people like your family, there's a lot of room for growth. Growth can mean a lot of different things. And I'm always holding on to that optimism at the end of the day. Like, this could turn out good. This could still turn out good. There's still a happy ending.
I mean, speaking of that, we really did enjoy Jill's book as well.
Yes. Yeah. Jill did a great job. She did a great job.
Yes. I'm glad
we just have different lives. Jill's like, I can't wait to read yours because I think I'm going to find out a lot that I didn't know. And I was like, like a lot of my shame, a lot of I was silenced, and I didn't talk about anything. And I really felt all alone. And I felt like no one would understand. And that's what abuse and fear does to you. It silences you. And so, I just told her, I was like, get ready, girl. You don't know what's in this book. And she's like, no, I'm looking forward to reading it because I don't know everything.
Right. So she said no to the Scientology contract. The that's what we call it. The contract in the book that's like, I own your children to labor for me until perpetuity.
Yeah. The contract that Jim Bob tried to get her to sign like the day before her wedding. That contract. Yeah.
No, I do find that like it's clear from this book that you valued Jim Bob's opinion. You thought he was somebody who was, you know, a very upstanding person, and you asked him for advice saying, should I sign this contract? But little did you know, he's the one who's like benefiting from you signing the contract and benefiting from your unpaid labor. And he's like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. You should sign it. I mean,
big eye-opening moment. I felt very like misunderstood, and I felt like I was worth nothing in that moment. I felt that like I don't know. I've had a lot of trust issues. I will raise my hand and
I can imagine.
I have trust issues, 100%, because like people say one thing and then they do the other. You know. For Josh, I mean, hello, you know, I think you know someone, you think you know someone, and then it turns out that's not the case. And there's been a lot of that in my life. There's been a lot of that, and that I'm having to like decipher and work through and just be like, okay, like the people in my life are good. And how I figure out, like how I've really like, okay, how is someone good? How is someone not? Their actions and words match up. And that is like where I stand on all of that. Like I look at someone for like who they are, regardless if we don't agree or not agree. But if your actions and your words match up, then like I feel like you're at least worth what you're saying.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And we've all learned about people who can't make that match in their lives.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah. And I think, you know, so me trying to have an interview with you and not like, okay, so all these people on the internet say all these things, right?
Sure. I
think your book and your personality and the actions I've seen from you on the public stage match.
Thank you.
And I think that when people read the book, like, no book is ever going to make every person who has ever disliked you suddenly like you magically. That's not how.
That's not what the book is about. I don't care if people like
social relationships work. But I think a lot of people will pick it up and go, "Oh yeah, this matches. This all makes sense. The puzzle pieces belong to the same puzzle." Show the same picture. Yeah.
No, it's definitely not from left field. Like I said, there was just a lot of inner struggles that people don't know about, and I never showed it on the show. And I just always tried to like be happy, give it my all, give it 100%. And come here. It's okay.
Oh, baby's
I'm
back.
here. Oh yeah, he's back. He's back.
That's a cute cat.
Thank you. That means a lot. There's a lot of cats in this world, but I think he's so handsome.
I agree. He's got his shiny little nose.
He does.
He's a pretty boy.
He really is, and he knows it, man. He is so spoiled. It is ridiculous.
You can tell he's like spoiled and healthy because he has like big, luscious face whiskers.
Thank you.
Because if they're stressed, they fall out. You can tell that he has a very chill life.
Well, we've got
very
two, and the bigger one like pulls the smaller one's eyebrows out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Your cat does that?
Yeah, our cat's our bigger cat.
His and his fiance's cat.
Eyebrows. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, no, he has no drama in his life whatsoever. He sleeps all day and gets treats all the time and lots of cuddles. And I don't know. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of hair, we did want to ask a question, and if you can't answer it, I do understand. But Jim Bob's hair, like it's a toupee, right?
I honestly don't know.
God, it feels like nobody knows, and like there were some shots.
I don't know that answer.
So I'm a bald man, and I'm pretty good at spotting another bald man, not just by like, okay, I can see that's real, that's fake. Okay, I can see where you're coming, but also by energy.
Okay.
And
there's a vibe. Okay.
the thing is with Jim Bob is I can't tell what the energy is. There's just something that's throwing me off. I've seen some pictures that look very convincing where it's like, oh no, this is real. And I've seen some pictures where it's like, oh, you could see the top versus the bottom and people are just saying that's a bad haircut. But then I've also seen some pictures where his hairline looks not excellent.
I know that they don't go to a hair salon. They like do the hair at the house.
So they have to have operational security on the. You can't let the intel about that get out to anywhere.
No, I think that's just a cheapskate thing. I think it's a buy used and save the difference thing.
It is to save money.
You know what? That's fair. I don't go to a hair salon either.
You know what? You want to know the truth? I don't either.
Yep.
I'm not, I've been, several times, but no, I actually dye my own hair. Like it's organic, like color. And then if you want to know all this, I twist my hair and then I just take off the like dead ends.
Yeah.
That's
you can definitely,
really all I do.
I used to cut my own hair. I don't currently, but I did all through college. I did the thing where you put it in a ponytail, like right here,
yes.
and then slide the scrunchie all the way down to the end and then just chop the end off.
And then chop it. Yep. I've done that. that. I don't know. I think it is a save money thing. I'd rather spend money on other things. And honestly, it's not even money for me because that's not the issue. But for me, it's more of like, I get bored sitting there at a salon. And I hate it. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, and half the stuff is magazines that they just give you. And I'm just like, I don't care about any of this because none of it's real.
Yeah.
You know?
And having lived it, you really know how not real it is.
Yeah. I'm just like, meh. So I get really bored at a hair salon. I don't consider it self-care at all. I consider it like a waste of time. Not like you need that answer, but that's true.
No, that, people.
Yeah.
I know that you have told us very clearly that you're not a celebrity, but people who think you're a celebrity are going to think we just had, People Magazine can do a story now. Amy Duggar confesses on Leaving Eden podcast that she cuts her own hair.
There you go. Yeah, no, okay, here's the thing. My family is famous. My family is very well known. And I'm just the cousin that people like can either relate to or make fun of. That's who I am. Yeah. And there's really like, I am just me. And like, I'm not going to be someone else or try to be someone else. And I'm not going to also like demand people to follow or to have popularity. And I think the book shows it. Famey, that whole chapter is really about the things that I said no to when I didn't have to. If I wanted fame, I could have had it. If I wanted, my name in lights, I could have had
like your own show. Yeah.
Right.
You absolutely could have, like from the stories you tell in the book, I feel like you could have pushed to have your own reality show.
It was definitely something that was considered and thought about it for sure. But I just, a lot was going on. And so I was just like, I don't need that. I don't need that in life. I really don't. And as you know, I said no to it. And so I think when people read that, I think they're going to go, oh, okay. So she wasn't that, I was portrayed one way versus really what I am. And so really it's just me saying like, hey, it's the real me and this is the real story.
Speaking of people whose hair isn't real, I want to great segue. I want to discuss
all of his hair questions. I love it.
You know where I think you probably know. We all probably know where I'm going with this. But there's a story in your book. I think this is one of the most heinous things that I've ever read in any memoir.
Okay.
Ever,
oh gosh.
Is that they were going to meet Dolly Parton and Jim Bob said you couldn't come on the bus with them and you had to drive. Like, imagine going to meet Dolly Parton and saying,
just evil.
yeah, but you can't come.
Yeah,
that's
just
like,
cruel,
that's diabolical.
Unacceptable behavior. Not letting somebody meet Dolly Parton is horrible.
You know what though? Let me tell you something about what happened in that time. I am in the room. We're about to meet Dolly. Dolly's about to come in. It's like this big moment, right? And I said in there that like she said hi to everyone. She hugged me so tight, you guys. And I was like, hi, Dolly. And she's like, you're feisty like me. I love you. Or something. She's so
It's precious.
She knew who I was. And I felt so validated in that moment. I felt so seen. And I was like, so I have it in the book, like, thank you, Dolly, because literally, like, it was just like the nicest, kindest human. And I was like, wow, here I am trying to blend in, trying so hard not to, like, get any attention whatsoever. And yet she, like, picks me out of the crowd and is like, I know you. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, there was a lot of, like, if you want to go, you find your own way. You're doing this, like, all the things. And we did. My grandma was really good about just being like, let's do it, Amy. She was such a big fan of, like, just like positivity and, like, wanting to, like, just make sure that I was a part of it and wanted to feel, like, connected. And so, yeah, she made a way.
I just can't imagine having, like, I don't know how many passengers fit on that bus.
A lot. Like,
ride around it. But having space on the bus and saying, and getting to go see, like, if I had a bus like that and we were all going to go meet Dolly, I would, I'd be asking people off the street, like, hey, you want to come meet Dolly? Like, we still got room on the, like,
you
everybody
have a really
come
good
meet
heart,
Dolly. Like,
Gabby.
No, you
Very
really
cool.
would, like, have, like, random people like, hey, let's go meet Dolly.
Like, hey, we're going to meet Dolly. Like,
yeah, no, I know we had, like, we went
Dolly?
to Dollywood and we did all the things and we did get to stay in the cabin. He did allow us to stay in the cabin once we got there, but I mean, we had to fly there. Yeah. Or drive there.
I wasn't even raised on country music like that,
Yeah.
and I still want to meet her. I still think that would be fun.
She was wonderful. She was wonderful. So warm, so kind, so welcoming. And just, I mean, her boobs were hanging out and she was Dolly. And I just appreciated the fact that she was unapologetically herself.
Yeah. I think that's very much how she's always portrayed, and I think that's accurate. And maybe you picked up a little bit of that as you were kind of going into the end of that show.
On me or something.
Yeah, you got a little bit of the.
I got some Dolly sparkle or something. I really hope so. I'm not trying to be someone that I'm not. I'm not trying to act like better than anyone. I'm not trying to like I said, gain popularity or like, look at me. Like, it's not, it's just, this is my life. And I talk about it all the way from childhood and before childhood, all the way until now. And I really could have written anything in my book. I had the opportunity to write whatever I wanted, but I was like, by telling my actual real story, it's going to help a lot of lives. It's going to open up eyes and help a lot of hearts out there.
Yeah, I think your book is very clear about how you see yourself and your role in the world right now. And in my opinion, that matches with the little bits of personality that flashed through on the TV show. It matches with the way that you conduct yourself on social media. Like, my dad always told me, look for the ring of truth in people. And I think you are being really honest about how you see yourself in the world. And I think that's really respectable and something that I would. It's like,
I'm so buying you a shot. I'm so buying you a drink.
The Snarkers are going to accuse Sadie of fangirling and
no, I just think like
a stan or something. But
no, I think like
honestly, these are words. Let me tell you something, you guys. These are words I've never heard before. These are words, this is just something that does not come natural to a lot of people. And like the compliments that you're giving me, I've never received them. And so this is the time with like a lot of podcasts and PR and campaigns and a bunch of stuff like that. And a lot of people have questions about my book. A lot of people are praising it and saying like, thank you for being so real and honest and all that. But no one's really like said what you just said, just how like my words and my actions match up and like, I'm just me. And so I really think that.
Having been like the snarker community, if you go back and listen to any old episodes, like the snark community is something that helped me get out of a cult like years and years ago. And if you can really like put me on that, because I really think Ginger and I, was she December of 92? because I'm February of 93, and I'm really close in age to like multiple of those kids.
I really don't know all the birthdays anymore.
How would you?
I used to have them all, and now I just know a couple.
But like you can really place me like in her age range because I know we're really close in age. So when she was a teenager on TV, I was a teenager watching her on TV.
Gotcha.
Being in the snark community, seeing you being different on TV was a real thing for me. And I know, like, I'm very familiar with all the different ways that people perceive you as a character on reality TV. And to be honest, Holy Disruptor is a big title to give yourself. That's a big name to put on yourself. But
it is, yeah.
But like having read the book, I think that you are being honest about the way that you see yourself. And I think that that is something that's worth celebrating and worth validating for my audience, because what I say to my audience is going to affect how they perceive you and how they perceive your book. And my overall opinion is I think you're being honest. And
thank you very much.
That's worth something to me.
Thank you. No, honesty is honestly, it has set me free. I know that's so cliche to say, but like it is so true. Yeah, there's a lot to this book, but I wanted to be open and honest and just share it all. Yeah. You know, I feel like that's how real truth happens. And yeah, it is a big title to call yourself a holy disruptor. That is, but it's when anyone can be a holy disruptor. It's not just me. That is just something that someone called me, a mentor called me a long time ago and just said, like, you're not afraid to like confront evil and you face things head on and you're not afraid to ask the hard questions. And anyone can make changes in their life that's going to benefit them, whether or not they're Christian or not. They can literally become a disruptor in their own lives. And so I hope that the title is not just like a book that they read, but it's a movement in their own life. You know, they can look at their own life and say, what kind of boundaries do I need? How can I make myself more peaceful? You know, what are the things that change? So,
right.
Just really my hope.
Well, I appreciate it. I think you did a great job. I do not have any reservations about telling people to go buy the book. Let's make it. I want to see it on the New York Times bestseller list when the release date happens. Let's do it. Absolutely worth the price of admission for that book. And I enjoyed it. I'm thankful.
Thank you.
I read both of the books that Ginger put out. And I think that this is better than both of those. It was
definitely,
sorry, maybe that's out.
That will go on our I gave it all to your Patreon, but
yeah, maybe saying that it's weird for me to say that because they're like your cousins. And
no, it's okay. Like, here's the thing. I didn't have a ghostwriter. Okay, no one helped.
See, that was the other thing that I was, because I looked at it and I was like, oh, it doesn't say written with or written, with anybody.
No,
it's just you.
On the title
I do
page,
appreciate that.
Thank you. On the title page, it says like Susie Flory. Susie Flory helped me with the structure of the book, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And a lot was happening when I was a little girl that we didn't want to confuse the readers. And I really was. When I was writing it all by myself, I was like, I don't know where these chapters all fit. And so I hired her to help me with the chapters to make sure that they all flowed really nicely, because I did not, I've never written a book before. I didn't know what I was doing. And so, yeah, that was the moment for me when I literally sent in a 32-page proposal and they were just like, we want to hear what you got. And I was like, okay. I didn't know what I was doing. And I just started writing from the heart, literally. Here's the things I've struggled with. Here's the things I'm not good at. Here's the things I'm working through, blah, blah, blah. And they came back and said, wow, we don't think you even need a ghostwriter. And I was like, I took it as the biggest compliment and also like the most scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Yeah. And I just wrote it with like the little confidence that I had. And every conversation that I have going forward, including your guys' podcast, it just like makes my confidence grow like a little bit more, like literally. So
yeah, I think like that's kind of where I come to after having read this book and after having had a conversation. And it feels so cool. Like, this doesn't feel like meeting a celebrity, but this feels like meeting an old friend I've never met, because I have,
and we're gonna have a
like,
drink
known
with
your
Snoop.
life for so long. And like at the end of all of that, like where I really come down to is like, yeah, Holy Disruptor is a really big name to accept for yourself when someone else has given you that name. That is a big thing to stand up to. And writing a book on your own as a first-time author without like a journalism degree or any of that kind of thing that's a big thing to stand up to. And I think that's really admirable. I see that you are not having a overinflated estimation of yourself as I am this Holy Disruptor Joan of Arc character pulling her sword out. But it's more
I'm not like a warrior, like putting on the army, like armor.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I have broken some patterns and some cycles in my life, and my life is so much more healthier now. And I'm really so grateful y'all read it. Yeah. I've listened. I've been on interviews. I'm so sorry. I've been on interviews before, and they're like, they haven't read it. They're big podcasts, and they haven't read it, and I can tell because they don't have anything to ask me that's like of substance, you know.
That's a bummer.
The fact that you guys like have read it, you know the ins and outs of it, and like you can literally say that you thoroughly enjoyed it means the world to me.
Yeah,
look, I mean, Sadie's. What's the longest book you ever read for when we were doing Scope's Monkey Trial, right? You read some like 500 pages or something, right?
Wow.
Like, it was the J. Frank Norris, when the J. Frank Norris episode, I read 2 different books for. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun.
I have enjoyed it.
I appreciate the chance to get to know you. And I really do, like, genuinely thank you for your vulnerability in your book. I think you really did, I don't know. I think you really did the world a kindness with being honest and vulnerable about not just the Duggar 19 kids part, but the family struggles that I think a lot of people can relate to some part of that. And I think a lot of people will find some healing in that. And I do genuinely thank you for that.
I'm giving you a huge hug right now. I really have enjoyed this too. This has been wonderful. You guys are great. I feel like
Thank you.
They're two friends that I haven't like met officially yet, but just online. You guys are just great. This has been really awesome, and I thank you for all the hard questions and the deep questions. And I just funnel everything through peace now. Like, does it bring me peace, or do I not like this person? Is there a vibe? Is there something going on? Like, what's up? And I trust my instincts when it comes to people.
Mm-hmm. Well, Scripture says, as much as it is possible, live at peace with all people. And like in my journey, like in and out of religion, and who knows where I am right now. I don't know where I am right now.
Yeah, but and that's okay.
Pieces of wisdom in Scripture that I really hold on to, and that's one of many of them. But living at peace is something that's talked about a lot in Scripture. And when we get into... Like, I think a lot of Christians these days are, well, we're at war and it's a holy war and we're out to conquer. And the other side of that is the Bible says to live at peace. And you're to be a peaceful person. You're to have peace in your own heart. That doesn't mean there's never a fight to be fought, but living at peace cannot be overrated.
No, I agree. I'm the same way. I do believe that there is an uprising in all kinds of Christian media right now, and the world is upside down, and it's really sad what's happened. But I do just hope my book helps a lot of people see that, if you need to break a certain cycle in your life or in your family pattern or whatever, don't be afraid to be a holy disruptor. Yeah. And so that's a title I'll bear, and hopefully you guys will be that too. And I know a lot of people that will hopefully adopt that kind of narrative in their life and change some things that need to just make their lives healthier.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I've enjoyed this.